most of what we do is on autopilot.
Mm-hmm. Hey, it's Walter here, and you're at the Think Profit podcast, where we're going to help you develop a rock-solid trading confidence and avoid the potentially endless cycle of system switching. Right, Hugh?
That's right. We're going to help you develop a wealth mindset, develop a trading strategy that fits your core personality, and help you overcome the obstacles that stop over 90% of traders.
All right, Hugh, sounds good. You ready to go?
Yeah, let's do this.
Hey, Walter, what are some trading psychology affirmations or things you can tell yourself or ways that you can implant those affirmations in your mind that can help you improve your trading?
Right. So there's sort of, the way I look at it is there's sort of two levels. There's subconscious and there's conscious. So subconscious would be putting those in without your awareness. So subconscious is by definition something that is outside of your awareness. So that could be as simple as having subliminal recordings going on in the background, like in your office or whatever, or while you're sleeping. We've talked about those before. You can also get into a state of meditation or hypnosis and then have those sort of programs, seeded into your mind, those suggestions. They call them suggestions in hypnotherapy. You can also do it. We've talked about this before. Like you can do it where you have like some things that you want to accomplish and you kind of seed those as you're falling asleep in the hypnagogic state, right? Then there's the other side of it, which is interesting. Like one of my friends in high school, his dad wrote a book about this, which is weird. I never knew that his dad was even into that. But I did find one time I went to his house and they had these little sticky notes everywhere, and it had all these positive messages like everywhere in the kitchen and everything. And I was like, dude, what's going on with this? He goes, oh, my dad wrote a book about, positive affirmations. So that's a different thing. Like there's a book, actually, we'll put the link in the show notes. I think it's by T. Harv Eker, and I think it's called Secrets of the Millionaire Mind or something like that. Anyway, and he has like these 1 or 2 day events that you can go to, and I went to those and stuff like that. And what that is that's more a conscious seeding, right? So there's a whole, like if you go into like the coaches in the coaching realm, like coaching is this huge thing now, right? Mm-hmm. And a lot of coaches, one of the main messages that a lot of coaches have is this idea of congruency. So like, in psychology, they talk about cognitive dissonance, where you believe something, but then, you do something else. And it's kind of weird. Like why, if I'm not racist, why do I keep using these rude terms every time I see someone who doesn't look different to me or what, you know what I mean? Or what, those sorts of things. In the coaching world, they talk about, you say things like, I am a profitable trader. Mm-hmm. I make money trading every month. You say things like that. And so the idea is that if it doesn't fit, then there's friction there and you do whatever it takes to kind of get to that point. Right. So that's a different sort of a thing to what I think those things, while they may work, I think the evidence is pretty clear. Most of what we do is on autopilot. Mm-hmm. And so where does that come from? Well, the best research we have today is that autopilot is your subconscious. And so I think that's where the main program is, and that's where we should really be focusing our energies on. So that's basically my take. What are your thoughts on that?
Hey there, I hope you're finding this episode useful. I just wanted to let you know that Walter and I give away something valuable every month that helps traders improve their skills. You can enter to win by simply leaving an iTunes review and leaving a comment on our YouTube videos. At the end of each month, we'll look at the comments and reviews from the month, and we'll pick a winner at random. Each comment and each review counts for one entry during the month that it's submitted. So if you're interested in that, be sure to enter after this podcast is over. All right, back to the episode.
Yeah, no, totally agree. And one thing I would add to that is the actual saying of some sort of affirmation before you start trading or something. Like you said, I am a profitable trader, or I make money every month. And I think sometimes the act of saying that is more powerful than some woman's voice in your earbuds, like saying, oh, I'm a profitable trader. I think it depends on the person, obviously, but I think that your subconscious is more likely to believe that as opposed to maybe another voice. But it varies by person, obviously. But
yeah, that's right. Yeah. And it's interesting you say that, because sometimes, in the Harv Eker book, he talks about saying things like that in the mirror and looking at yourself, and then touching and doing all these things, and it's kind of emotional freedom therapy, or
the freedom technique. Yeah.
Yeah, that one, right? The engineer came up with. So like it kind of reminds me of that, like some of the stuff in the T. Harv Eker book. But yeah, so what you're saying is, yeah, that's exactly right. That's one of the arguments for, for that approach, is that it's like you, and like especially if you like look at yourself in the mirror and say it,
Yeah.
Did
you
you
have to
know
put some
that?
emotion behind it, right? Like you can't just
Yes.
say, "Oh, I'm a profitable trader."
Yeah, you have to be like, like T. Harv Eker talks a lot about like just going overboard, so that if someone walked in the door, they go, "This guy's nuts," like to getting to that point. Yeah, but did you hear? And it's interesting. I always think about this when like I read something about what T. Harv Eker wrote. I always think of the research that you probably heard this too. A lot of when it's funny, I always get pegged as a shoplifter. Like just yesterday, I went to the mall.
Okay.
Right? It's so weird. Like people look at me, think I'm dodgy or something, and like I went to the mall and I swear, like I can tell, because I actually had a friend in high school. And when I was in high school, my mom's friend was a undercover shopper. Okay.
Yeah.
At a place, I don't even know if it exists anymore in the States, but it was called J.C. Penney. Like this is stores
I don't think
that they
they're
had.
around.
Yeah, I don't think they're around anymore. But anyway, so she was a J.C. Penney fake shopper, and she went to work and she acted like she shopped all day long. That was her job. And what she was doing is she was looking for dodgy characters that were stealing stuff out of the store, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so, because back then they only put those big white tags on like only the real expensive stuff, right? So, yeah. Anyway, so that was her job. Anyway, I know a couple of things about shoplifting because I worked at a place called Marshall's when I was in high school. It's like where they have seconds clothes, like all these really cheap clothes. Anyway, it's kind of like Ross. Ross is kind of the same thing nowadays, I guess. But they taught us all this stuff about how to identify shoplifters. And they say, like, you always greet them and look them in the eye.
Yeah.
Say, how are you doing today? Is there anything I can help you with? Like, that's the first thing. Because shoplifters, a lot of times, if they have intent to steal, they won't look you directly in the eye. So every time I go into these stores, because I know what they're doing, I walk in and I look them in the eye and go, oh, I'm fine. And, everything's cool. How about you? How was your weekend? Because then I try and throw them off their thing because they think that I'm dodgy. But the other thing they do is they put mirrors up. Apparently, if you have a mirror in an area like where you're going to steal or do something bad, you're less likely to do it because you have to like consider yourself.
Look yourself in the face.
Look yourself in the face as you start stealing money out of the cash register or whatever, or stealing clothes out of the shop or whatever. So those are the two things, like the mirror and, looking someone in the eye. And that's kind of what we're saying with these positive affirmations. You kind of look yourself in the eye in the mirror, and it's like you're saying, this is true, You don't want to be lying to yourself. Like that's so incongruous with what most of us think. We think of ourselves as being consistent. That's one of our biases. We think we're always the same, even though we totally change over our ideas and everything over life. But that's the thing, is to look yourself in the mirror and say that. So I just find that fascinating that that's kind of an element of this, and that it also kind of relates to being honest in a retail setting. Yeah, I just find that.
Yeah, no, it makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
All right, thanks, Walter.
Thanks.
All information in this podcast is for educational and informational purposes only and is not trading or investment advice.